Oh my goodness. That's how you pronounce that word.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is this like the GIF thing?
I'm reviving the GIF holy war of the 90s, yes.
I'll never forget, or I'll never forgive Wizards of the Coast for releasing the GIF species and then adding to their lore.
Oh, I'm going to mute my laptop.
Adding to their lore that they get into arguments over how the name of their race is pronounced.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is funny, but like...
But also...
Really?
No.
Did you really have to do this?
Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
I don't actually see any chit-chat yet, but I do see a few people are in.
Okay. You'll have to let me know if you do see chat, because lately there seems to have been some issues with it.
Yeah, YouTube chat has been a little bit weird for some reason, and I'm not really sure why. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just the one true streaming platform, Twitch, can just handle everything.
Tommy's not here. He is currently at Gamma, which is the Games Manufacturing Association. It's sort of a industry trade show. It was a fun time. It's in Kentucky. I was there last year. Yes. We went and got wings.
I mean,
and had bourbon.
There are worse places to have wings and bourbon.
It was nice.
Yeah.
I was in Louisville too, so actually the pizza there was pretty darn good. I gotta say.
Yeah, well, maybe not surprisingly, but yes, yeah, it is.
There was some good food, good eats in Kentucky. And the hotels were a little weird, but that's fine.
And if you have enough of the bourbon, the pizza's really good. Yeah. So
mind you, some of the pizza was not so good. It's like there was this one place we ordered from.
Yeah.
That was the saddest pizza I'd ever seen. It took 2 hours to get.
Wow.
Yeah, it took them 2 hours to deliver it, and it was like
Good
this
Lord.
big box. We opened it. It was like this like mush, mildly pizza textured mush.
Nice.
But the one like down like across the street from where the actual trade show was happening, that was good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there was. I'm trying to remember which convention it was.
We're talking about food, and Tommy's not even here.
That's right. Well, hey, I haven't eaten in quite a few hours. I forget which convention it was, but there was a pizza place in the convention hall because there was a little food court, and it was shockingly good for like a food court in a convention hall.
Was it Gen Con?
It might have been.
Gen Con has pretty decent pizza.
It might have been Gen Con. I don't think it was. I think it might have been Origins. I don't remember though, to be fair.
I could see Origins as well.
Yeah.
Because Origins has that like down the escalator thing where there's that whole area.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. Anywho, it was just shockingly good. Like I would order it from a restaurant outside of it being the closest option, which is saying something. There were some good food trucks at OhioCon. I went and got food trucks are always a winner.
I went and got 3 tacos.
Yeah.
For $9.
Yeah, that's
good. I was like, that's a pretty good deal.
That's not bad. No.
The best though was the street burger I had in New Zealand.
Oh yes.
That was great.
Yeah. And the gutter cheese.
That's right. Well, that's the garnish.
That's right. We're going to talk about species.
Yes. Today. Now, in the Imaria book, we called them peoples because we were trying to kind of move away from like the term race.
Sure.
Just for a couple of reasons, but primarily, this was before Wizards also made the decision. They decided to go with the word species, which is kind of grown on me. I wasn't super into it because part of my criticism of it was like I was like it sounds very sci-fi-y.
Sure.
But that's also just because that's just what we're used to. Like this, I think we just needed time to let it grow, and now it's like it kind of is just part of the nomenclature. I don't really have an issue with it. But we went with peoples because that is also an accurate definition.
For the record, peoples is actually technically more appropriate because people implies sentience.
Yes, whereas species, I think that's part of it too. Because technically, like you have different species of bat.
Yeah.
Whereas you can't have if you have different peoples of bat, you're going to assume that they have a culture and they have sapience and So we went with peoples. So we're pretty much like the mechanics descriptions are pretty much verbatim as what you would expect, except we replaced all race or species with peoples.
Yeah. I'll allow it.
There are various.
I'm just gonna check quick while you're talking. I think I've probably got a couple of mics that are unmuted that don't need to be.
That might be.
They won't be causing any major problems, but I'm gonna be heads down for a second doing stuff while you're.
There are several different unique peoples to Imaria, but there's also all of your standard PHB ones. Since this is a world that we're putting into 5e, actually, yesterday Wizards came out and said they're officially terming it 5.5e.
Oh, did they finally
they have
decide?
Actually ironed, just as a side note, they've ironclad that in there.
Well, it will be time.
It is. You will start to probably see that showing up in D&D Beyond and maybe a few other places. They are officially calling it 5.5e, just like they did back in the 2000s with 3.5. So, but they made it very clear it's not an addition. This is simply nomenclature. It doesn't actually.
So have they completely dropped the idea of 1D&D or D&D?
I think we can say they have.
Yeah, because
their goal was to just say it's Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. But
that's it.
I think maybe they realized that would mean that they couldn't keep selling new books all the time.
That was also my thought.
Yeah. Because I 100% was on board with the idea of like, listen, we're going to move to a sort of, and just this is D&D, and we might publish errata now and then online, and like D&D Beyond will always be up to date, and that's just how it's going to. I'm like, great, that sounds wonderful, because then you can focus on actually printing material that's new instead of having me buy a new player's handbook every fucking 3 years.
But there you go.
But
exactly there.
Right.
And the player's handbook is the top selling book that they ever release. So they're actually financially incentivized to make as many editions as possible.
Of course they are.
I
was shocked when they were saying they weren't going to.
Well, it took them 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. That's a decent gap between editions.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it's not even a new edition, technically speaking. It's a new version.
I mean,
it's a version update.
Look, it's a new edition. I get why they make that distinction, but it
is important to clarify. Like, you can play 5e with the 5.5 stuff. There are some weird things. Like my grappling character doesn't work in 5.5, but in 5e he's really, really good. So like there are a couple of weird things like that. Now, having designed a bunch for 5.5 now, though, I do think it is a lot cleaner.
Oh, I'm in favor of most of the changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that in general, other than the fact that there's been a lot of watering down done, which is fine because, again, they are trying to expand their audience, which only makes sense. Which actually, if we want to get into it a little bit, I think that's really what happened with the D&D one. But I think they've generally been making good moves, like directionally, the entire time. There's been some rogue elements within the company that have gone way too far down a couple of paths, but that's a whole different issue.
I mean, I also would say that the quality of the products is a separate thing as well.
Right, agreed. Yeah.
The business model that they've been doing, I actually was in favor of, because the 5e model was, we're going to release a few books, but each of those books is going to be like basically mandatory. It's like you need Xanathars, you need Tashas. It's not like 3rd edition or 4th edition, we're releasing a book a month, and it's like you just kind of buy the ones you want.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're going to release so many things in each of these books that you're basically going to have to get them. Which I am much more in favor of. 1, because it takes up less space on my shelf. 2, because it's just easier to manage.
Yeah.
And 3, because I can actually like pay attention. I know what my players are playing rather than being like, oh, I made this wizard. He uses like 7 different books, but only 1 paragraph from each. And you're just like, oh my God, I gotta go buy all these books and read. Which was 3rd edition.
Yes.
So I appreciated that, and I do think that model, because they're still doing that model, I do think that's the good way to do it. What I would like to see is that if you're going to do that, the quality of what's in those books should be better than what they are.
Well, especially if you're charging what they charge.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly,
I should clarify the game mechanics don't really have much of an issue with. I'm specifically talking about adventure design.
Yeah. Yeah, I think honestly, probably what happened with the D&D 1 D&D 1 D&D 1 is
Xbox One.
That's right. Wow, for 100. Thank you, B. Tell Tom's my greeting. I retreat. but we'll remember with love. Okay, B. We'll keep that in mind. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for the donation, and we'll pass that along.
Um,
So I think with D&D, the idea of moving towards one is they had this idea that they were going to expand their player base by so much by making changes that they could get away without having to spend like resell books to people, and the expansion never really met their expectations.
well, nothing they've
I'm
ever done has
pretty
met their expectations.
True.
The 2024 PHB didn't meet their expectations, and it's one of their highest selling books.
True. Yeah, I think that's probably what happened, because I think that they were aiming to. I think that they had the goal of, we're going to expand the player base by like 40%, year over year over year sort of thing, which there's room to do in theory, and that means that we won't have to resell books every 5 years. And I think that they probably got like 1% player base growth every year, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's just not.
They're growing, but they're not growing at the rate that they'd like.
Yeah, so
a lot of that does have to do with the fact that, like, the average person gets into it through things like Stranger Things and whatever, which we talked about in earlier streams.
Yeah,
there is data to show, like, whenever a new season comes out, there's a spike. Whenever Critical Role new season comes out, there's a spike. Whenever there's always a spike when something in the zeitgeist happens.
And the other thing is, like, if they really, really wanted to actually make it work, they would need to come up with something akin to, not the same as, if anyone from Wizards ever sees this and gets an idea, not the same as the Magic Battleground, like the digital Magic the Gathering, where people can jump in and just like dabble with. I don't know how you would exactly do it, but people that are actually like reasonable to play with.
Yeah.
Like build a community.
We're gonna get to the lore in just a sec, but
nobody's chatting yet.
That's
so
fair.
When they tell if you're in chat and you're like, move on, we don't care.
Yeah.
Then
that actually does touch on something that I have been having a lot of thoughts about lately, which is part of the problem I think that Wizards struggles with, especially because they have a lot of people coming in from the video game industry, coming in, a lot of executives, and they're really having a hard time getting new customers. And I think a lot of that is because the tabletop as a hobby is very difficult. There's a lot of barriers to entry just through its nature. Yeah. A video game, you can go on Steam, click a button, you now have it, and you can just hit play, and the game will teach you how to play as you go. Now, there is a ceiling, and at some point you will hit that, and if you want to get better, you're going to have to go do research, go watch videos, go practice. There are other things to do, but to understand the basic fundamentals and have fun with the game, all you need is the game. And in fact, all you need is your computer, your phone, your game system, whatever. You don't need anything else. With something like Dungeons & Dragons, you can go to the store and buy the starter set, but you have to take it home, you have to get it out, you have to open the books, read the rules, understand, then read the adventure, understand how to do all of that, then get 4 friends who also need to have some level of understanding, and then run that barrier of entry. Now, it's not obnoxious because we all do it. We've all done it. I mean, I've lived through getting people involved, and I see it every day. But
I think the thing is, it is obnoxious.
It's obnoxious compared to everything else. Like, and to be clear, like, it's not just TTRPG. Like, movies have this problem too. Like, if you want to, because everybody says that Hollywood is bankrupt of ideas, which we can talk about, but that's a whole other thing. But anybody who says film is dead is wrong, because the independent films are doing quite well. But in order to see an independent film, you have to go to a film festival. You have to like look up when they're happening, where are they going. You have to make effort to get involved. And even to go see a movie that's new, you have to go to a theater. Like, there's a lot you have to do. Video games, the reason the video game industry is so lucrative and is exploding constantly and is such a massive pillar of our culture and society is because of the ease of entry. Literally anyone can play a video game like this. It's the easiest thing in the world.
Well, and so this is exactly what Wizards should be doing with D&D is like, there's nothing stopping them from using WebGL and everything else too. You should be able to go to, tryitout.wizardsofthecoast.com or whatever the fuck, and like or just like try.dungeonsanddragons.com, and you should immediately be dropped into the starter set with like an automated DM.
You know what's funny?
Run you through.
They did that.
They didn't do it well.
They did it for 3rd edition.
Yeah.
So in 3rd edition, and I remember because I did it.
But in fairness, it was 3rd edition.
Yeah, I know. So back in 3rd edition, I ended up, because this was back in the day when websites mattered.
They did do it.
So I actually did go to the Wizards of the Coast website, and you can go to a Try D&D now, and they had the first 2 rooms, I think, of the starters I think it was the second starter kit for 3rd edition, the one that came with the Black Dragon, and they had the first room or 2 that they had up on this like flash animation game. It was like a Newgrounds style game, and they had animated characters. They had you play Regdar, the human fighter, and they had some random cartoon character who was playing Amaril, the wizard, the elf wizard, and then there was another cartoon character, and she was the DM. And they would play you would get to play through the first 2 rooms of the starter set. And they went point by point, teaching you how to play the game. It was like you roll the die. Oh, run in and attack the goblin or whatever. So you would click your mini, move it over there, and then it would say roll the die to attack, and it would show the die rolling. It would do the math in front of you, and then the characters would constantly be telling you like this is what you do. You basically got to play a virtual version of the game. And the funny thing about this is, I remember my little brother was sitting behind me watching me play this, and he got upset when it was done because he was like, where's the rest of it? I want to play the rest of this. This seems great. And it's like, that's the game. This is D&D, dude. Like, just but that was the point. And it's funny to me that that's a thing that they had back in like the 2010s or something, or the 2000s. I don't remember exactly when. It's like, that's exactly what you're talking about, is just do something like that, some kind of automated or pre-written. It could be scripted, it doesn't matter. Just something that a tutorial-esque thing that you can just go through and you learn to play the game. Freaking to get up your boating license, you play like what's essentially a flash game to get your boating license, and then you just answer all the questions that you've learned throughout playing the game, and you get your boating license. That's like the official way of getting that's one of the ways you can get a boating license.
No, I like it. It's just one of those things. Like the starter pack, like even back then when they did the first 2 rooms, it's like, why did you do the first 2 rooms? Like
probably because it was expensive to make that.
Sure, but like how expensive, right?
I don't know.
Like the starter pack should only cost money because they're printing things.
Yeah.
There is a cost associated.
Well, the rules for D&D are free, and they always will be.
Correct. It would cost, I don't know, $20,000 to have somebody whack together a pretty convincing intro to Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. And you could just build it out a little bit every time you're doing a new book. Just like, we'll do an update to the rules there, and then we'll add like a little bit more to the starting adventure or whatever. And by now you would have...
Well,
even if they had just updated it and done 2 new rooms for 3.5 and then for 4 and then for 5. And then
they attempted something like that with Sword Coast Legends.
Yeah, but it sucks.
It did. The thing is that it seems like they've found that video games actually work really well for that. With Sword Coast Legends, they tried that. They made the video game Sword Coast Legends, which was sort of like the next CRPG from Wizards, and the plan was whenever they released the next adventure set for 5e, they were going to put a campaign module in Sword Coast Legends that you could play. I think they only did Out of the Abyss, and then it kind of just didn't work because just weren't enough people playing the game because it wasn't a very good game.
It was terrible.
But they did try that. Now they've got Baldur's Gate 3, but the problem is that they've kind of dropped the ball with the relationship with Larian, and so that's not really going anywhere now.
Baldur's Gate 3 is a video game. It's not D&D.
But that's the thing. Now it is driving people to try D&D. But it is creating a new version of the Matt Mercer effect, where it's like people come in. I've experienced this. I ran a game for a bunch of college students. It was a game design course, and they asked me to come be a guest speaker. And so I ran a game for some college students, and one of them had played before, and I don't know if he'd played before or if he just played Baldur's Gate 3, because he was doing a lot of things. He's like, well, I've got this candle, I'm gonna use the candle to make my sword on fire, and I'm like, okay, which is a thing you can do Baldur's Gate 3, but up till that point, I have never heard anybody try to do that, right? And so you see people who are like, oh, jumping bonus action, whatever. It's like, well, actually, no, you can just jump. You don't need to spend a bonus action doing it. That's how they did it in Baldur's Gate 3 because it's a video game and they needed to. I mean, Mage Hand works very differently and all the other stuff. So it's not D&D, but it at least is a good entry point.
Yeah, I mean, it is and it isn't. The problem is it leans too heavily into being a video game. So like Gloomhaven, the digital game for Gloomhaven, is the game, just digitized. Like everything about that game is how Gloomhaven works. It's just digitized. Mm-hmm. That's all Wizards needs to do. And just for the starter pack. It doesn't need to be a blockbuster Baldur's Gate 3 that costs millions and millions and millions of dollars to make.
Like I said, literally a flash animation gets the job done.
Yeah. You don't need anything super crazy. I was excited when they showed off their tabletop.
Oh, Project Sigil?
Project Sigil, yeah. Because I was like, cool. That can be the intro. And people will try it out and they might actually like get into it. And then want to play more.
The way to do it would have been to do Project Sigil and then write a base introduction storyline that is a tutorial to the game, teaches you how to do everything step by step by step. It's all automated, and have it use the Baldur's Gate 3 characters. Yeah. And that would have been the thing to do. That'd be the way to do it because then you're grabbing all your people.
That you can just get into. You don't need anything special. Release it through fucking Steam and web and everything you can possibly get your hands on. And that's how you get people into it. Because the problem is, asking a bunch of people, especially from a generation that spends very little time face to face, to go and buy a starter box and then get 4 friends around a table.
Well,
I mean, it happens.
Not only that, but you kind of need somebody who knows how to play the game.
Well, this is the thing.
No, almost nobody learns to play D&D by reading the rules. They kind of learn through osmosis. Obviously, there are exceptions, but generally speaking.
The first time my friend group played was we all just decided we were going to do it. We kind of half-assed read the rules. I DM'd not really knowing what the fuck, and we just learned as we went. Yeah. Which I think is how most
I think is a very accurate representation. I mean, that was me too. Like I read the rules, I was like, I think I get it, and then I just started running things, and then over the course of my life, I kind of was like, at some point, I kind of was like, oh, I get it now, and then smooth sailing.
And like the way that the way that D&D would be best off getting new people in would be to offer that sort of tutorial where it's like, you can go and check it out yourself and make sure that you actually want to do it. And then that way you can send the link to 10 of your friends and be like, hey, everybody, just check this out if you want to. And if you actually enjoyed it and want to do more, ping me, and then we'll pay the $5 a month to just sign up for it and just play together as a group. And then
what we're talking about
there we can go.
What we're talking about this concept too, back in TSR's day for 2nd edition, they didn't do a Flash game because that wasn't a thing back then. This is pre-internet. Well, this wasn't pre-internet, but it was basically pre-internet. So what they did is they actually, they did a couple of things. The one that I think actually worked was they made an audio CD where they had a bunch of people who had just got the game. One person had read the rules. They all sat down. They had a bunch of, it was like a radio drama. They had a bunch of actors, and they all just played D&D, and they would, but it happened in a way where the DM was teaching it to the other characters and the other people, and the other people would one by one sort of try or say or do things that were specifically scripted to teach you about the game as you went.
The game a little bit.
And it was like this little 5-minute quick thing. And then right after that, what they did is they said, now let's listen in to the imagination of our players. And then they had like sound effect, ambience, and different actors playing their characters, doing the exact sequence that they just played in the game, but as if it was a real adventure with actual like fights and characters and monsters. And there's like jokes between the characters, like the cleric and the rogue are like having at it, and the fighter's like telling them to shut up, and then the cleric is just like, this stuff's going on. There was even a point like where one of the players, he says, oh, there's a pit. I will step into the pit and float gently down to the bottom. And they're like, oh, that's a bad idea. You'll get splattered. He's like, well, you said I could do whatever I want. They're like, well, I meant you could try to do whatever you wanted. And like, obviously that's specifically designed. And then in the reenaction thing, there's like, oh, look, it's a pit. Do you think maybe it's magical? Do you think if we just stepped into it, we'd float down? They're like, I wouldn't try. You go first. And it was incorporated in. And
no, it was interesting.
I feel like by the end of that 10-minute sequence, if you're not sold, you're not going to get sold. Like that's going to sell you on, I want to try this, or this seems lame, I don't want to be I'm not interested.
Yeah. Well, and so I think there's 2 aspects of it, and we haven't even started talking about species yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. There's two things that you have to convince people of when you're looking to play D&D, and this actually may be useful to anyone who's looking for a group. The first thing you have to do is convince people that they want to play it.
Yep.
And then you have to actually figure out a way to enable them to play it.
Yes.
Now, so obviously back in the day, in the old days when we actually like got together with people at like houses.
Well, because the internet wasn't a thing.
I don't even think it was that. I think it was just reasons, lots of reasons. But
no adult life.
Yeah.
That's primarily the reason.
I mean, that's certainly individually. You can leave the players to the guide, but you can't make them read. Yeah. Very much so, Beaker. So like there's the two things. Like back in the day when people would get together to play like Nintendo at somebody's house.
Yeah.
The idea of, well, instead of doing that, we'll just play this TTRPG instead. That was a non-issue because you already like convincing them, like enabling them to play was easy.
Yeah.
You just needed a book.
Yeah.
And even then, you didn't really need the book if you really wanted to.
There were two types of groups. There's the ones that would lug around all the books, and then there was the other group that had like a notepad where they just wrote everything.
Yeah,
that was
so
important.
like the second half of it was super easy. The enabling was super easy, but the learning was much harder because it was like I need to give you guys I need to convince you to try something that you've never tried before that sounds like it might be weird. And you're just going to have to trust me and not play Nintendo for 5 hours and instead do this for 5 hours, not having any idea whether it'll be fun or not. And that part was the hurdle to overcome. These days it's completely inverted, where like the hey, learn D&D, you can just go and grab the PDF and have ChatGPT read it to you.
You could also
like,
just watch a 15-minute YouTube video.
Watch a 15-minute, like the barrier to entry for hey, check this out and see if it's something you might be interested in. There is no barrier there. That used to be the barrier. There is no barrier. The organizing and enabling is now the barrier. And so I think a lot of people who are looking for groups, they're still imagining that first bit is a barrier, and it's not. Literally, there are 100 million people around the world that know they would play D&D if they were offered.
Yes.
And now it's just a matter of how are we going to do this? And there's a million different ways to do it. And like we always talk about it's better at the table, and it is. Everything's better at the table.
Yes.
Even playing video games with your friends is still better if you have them on the couch.
It is.
But that's not always practical. So then it just becomes go to Roll20, go to any of the other TTRPG things that exist online, and just do it. If finding people is easy, finding people is trivial. Finding people you like, maybe a little harder, but like
that's the key.
Scratch the itch first. You'll find people. It's way easier to find people within a hobby that you like, than find people who happen to share your hobby.
I'll try to avoid
too many interruptions.
Don't worry about that at all.
This whole stream is about interrupting.
Interrupt us constantly. Scheduling is the real BBEG. Yeah, I mean, Adrian's right though. Like, if you just want to play D&D, you can. It's not hard. You can go online and find thousands of people. You can just join a group immediately if you don't mind playing online. If you want to find people in person, but if you look at like what we're doing at Roundtable, you come down to Roundtable and we have formed friendships at Roundtable. Like there are people who didn't know each other last year who now are like all going out for dinner afterwards. They're all like hanging out outside of the game. Like it's a strange thing that because I do think you have a good point where it's everybody kind of knows what D&D is now.
Yeah, well,
it's not really like before Barnes and Noble days where it's like it was this weird esoteric thing, or even after it was in Barnes and Noble when all these mothers were saying, "What's this book with demons on it?" Satanic Panic and everything that caused. We're past all that now. Stranger Things is one of the largest viewed.
There's a decent Hollywood blockbuster movie of Dungeons and Dragons.
There is.
It was actually a half-decent movie.
Yeah. You got the Dungeons and Dragons movie. You've got Stranger Things. You've got Community and like IT, all these things. that Big Bang Theory, like everybody knows what it is, and there's a lot of people, you're right, who if you ask them, they'd probably be down to try it. They just either aren't friends with somebody who's willing to put the effort in to make it happen, or they have some like internal issue where they're afraid they're going to do it wrong, or they don't, or that
that's always a big one.
They're not really gonna, it's not something that they're actually going to be able to get into.
The three pieces that I always say to anyone who's struggling to find someone to play with is, number one, it's always easier to find, if you have friends that you think would try it, just DM for them. Just do it. It's not that bad. They don't know the game either, and it's going to be fine. Just do it. It'll be fine.
There's no wrong way to play D&D.
Also true. So that's number one. And then number two is, if you don't have people that are already sort of on deck, it's always easier to find friends within a hobby than to find friends that happen to have the hobby.
Well, like I was saying, look up your local game stores.
Sure.
Find out when they do a drop-in D&D night or whatever, and just
you can find people, right?
Go to your community center. If you're in college, go to the bulletin board. I guarantee you, somebody at your college is playing. Someone at your primary school is playing D&D.
Many people at your college are playing D&D. Guaranteed.
There's rooms in the library that are on permanent reserve for it.
So like the second thing is, like, if you don't have friends,
if you DM it, they will come.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's literally like, it's always easier to find, if you are looking to find a friend who plays D&D, look for people who play D&D and form a friendship. Don't form friendships until you find someone who will play D&D. One is way easier than the other.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I have plenty of friends who I will not play D&D with.
Sure.
Because I've done it.
Sure.
And they don't want to play the way I want to play.
Absolutely.
And I'm not interested in running a game for somebody who, when it's not their turn, is going to go play video games on the couch.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back when it's their turn. I'm just not interested in that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. If they want to go do that and that's how they want to play, that's great. Not at my table. Right. But I will remain friends with this person.
Sure, of
because outside of D&D, there are lots of fun things we get to do together. We're just not going to play D&D.
Yeah. And then number three is just don't be a purist. If you are struggling to find people to play with, you're going to have to give up a little bit of. Not everybody plays the same D&D, and if you're struggling,
unless you're Adventurers League, I don't think anybody does.
Well, this is right.
I guarantee you, everybody plays slightly differently than everybody else.
And so if you are struggling to find a group, give a little bit. Assuming that you'd rather play D&D than not. Yeah. If you're like, no, if we don't play exact rules as written, I'd rather not play. Fair enough. There are groups for that, Adventurers League.
Also, don't feel like you need to make yourself uncomfortable.
No.
So I see there's a lot of situations out there where someone really, 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 really wants to play D&D. The only group that they have found that's convenient for them has like one or two toxic people in it, and they're like kind of forcing themselves to go play because they want to play, but they really don't like. And I'm like, don't do that to yourself. It's not worth it. It's going to explode. It's not going to work out.
But that's actually
just try to find someone else. It's gonna suck, but you'll find it.
This is where I was going with don't be a purist. Like, it's way better at the table. But if the only people you have to play with at the table aren't people that you like playing with, go online.
Yeah,
you can find other people. That's sort of where I was going with don't be a purist. It's like, you can always find, you will have to give a little bit if you're playing online. You will not find a group that wants to play exactly the way you do, but you can always find people that are close enough. Yeah. A lot of online groups nowadays. Yeah, so many online groups.
I mean, there are I know a lot of people who are friends now because with the people that they were playing online with.
And this is what Beaker was just saying. Like they start as strangers, but it's, again, you can form friendships within a hobby group. Atomic, you did not miss much of anything.
We kind of just got on this tangent about.
Uberman says, I only play 14, anything 24 can eat butts. Which you two, of course, moderated for no reason.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the classic, it's always easier to find friends within a hobby than to find friends that happen to share the hobby.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're looking for people to shoot guns with, you're way better off finding them at the gun range than at, say, like the local vegan restaurant.
Now, this mostly applies to adults.
Yes.
If you are a teenager or younger,
force your friends to play. Just force them.
Do it. That's what I did.
No, it's true.
I got the D&D kit when I was 11, and I played with my dad and my brother and that was it.
Just make them. Yeah.
And so then I brought it over to my friends, and at first they were just like, "What the hell is this? What is this stupid nonsense?" And then the next week I brought it again, and between that week and that week, they had seen the original Dungeons and Dragons movie, and so they were like, "Oh my God, we just saw the movie. We got to play this game."
Bring 4 bags of chips and soda and just force them.
And chocolate buttons.
That can work as adults too, by the way.
It can work. That's how I got most of my friends into anime.
Yeah. But yeah, scheduling is always a problem, which is where, like, I'm a bit of a table purist. I will almost only ever play at the table. But the reason I originally started streaming D&D way back in the day, not even with Six Sides, before Six Sides, is because I wanted to perform, or I wanted to create the best possible version of online play for my friends who were dialing in to play remotely with me. And at that point, it became one of those things where it's like, well, I've already got all the camera angles and everything set up so that they can feel like they're at the table. I might as well just go live.
Yeah.
Convinced my wife to play by agreeing to DM. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. And you already said it, Beaker. If you DM it, they will come. The linchpin to every group as a general rule is the DM, and if that's the spot that's being troublesome to fill, just fill it. It's not that bad.
I do find it kind of funny because I was always the forever DM of my group, and every now and again one of the players would say like, I want to try being the DM. They'd last like maybe 2 sessions.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, can you just DM again? I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Sure. Bezgar, you honestly, nobody's missed too much. We've been mostly just riffing about sort of the direction Wizards has been taken. And
well, not even that. Mostly just
some
like
other stuff, just getting into
the
D&D.
difficulty of people getting into D&D as opposed to like literally everything else in the world.
Yeah. But now I think we're going to talk about species.
I think so. I think we've wrapped that up.
We are here to talk about.
We
species.
are.
Let's talk about at least one of the species in Imaria. So for anyone who doesn't know, who happens to be lurking or otherwise, Imaria is the Linvander RPG D&D world. It is a full source book with a full world with its own species, races, people, whatever you want to call them. Classes, items, narrative. It's
kind of everything.
World. It is a full world in and of itself. And so we've been slowly meandering through the lore of it online in a discussion format. Feel free to ask questions as we go. What's our first species? Or people. We discussed the fact initially.
Yes.
We started with the discussion that.
Where we kind of got off on the tangent was I was talking about how. Because this was a world based around the D&D to facilitate, all of the species you find in the player's handbook are in Imaria. They have a place there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, humans, orcs, dragonborn, dwarves, and all that stuff. So they're all here, but we also have some unique peoples that are specific to Imaria. So there's the Alassian elves.
Yes.
Which live in the sky nation of Lunalia. They are feathered elves. They have feathered wings elves. They fly around. Tommy plays one in Ties of the Bind, the game. He's an Alassian elf. There's the Nandrian elves, which are magically infused. They live underground, and they have way, way better vision in the darkness than like anything else. You may be thinking, like a drow? No. There's Naranians, giant-like people who value strength and artistry.
That's my character.
That's right. You play a Naranian.
I'm finally playing a Naranian. My favorite thing about the Naranians is that they have a very strong oral history tradition, and one of the side effects of that is that their names become ridiculously long as they just append new things throughout their life due to various accomplishments.
It's one of my favorite cultural things we've added, but as a DM, every time I need a Naranian NPC, I'm just like, God, I gotta come up with like this dude's entire history and like, his 7 names.
My favorite thing about Naranians is always the introduction and then, but you can call me.
Yeah, and then no one will ever refer to you by that full thing again.
Never again, except very occasionally Gambit is the only Naranian character that I'm aware of that people actually know his real name.
Like nicknames are formally required to add to compound? Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, like they're more like titles that they kind of. So, for example, you climb the tallest tree, you're now like tree climber.
Yeah.
Like that's in your name now.
So
you fought a dragon, you're now also like dragon slayer or something. Like, it can get kind of ridiculous at a certain point. But what's interesting about that is if you meet an Iranian who has one name, they're a loser.
Absolutely. And also
if that name is like, hello, I'm Clumsy, nice to meet you.
Yeah, right. Hi, I'm Jar Jar Binks. Yeah. So so in addition, they're a bit of a loser, and also probably not that bright because they should just lie.
Well, there's that too.
So to like my Imus, my character, his actual name is Malfor Stoneguard Firewarden Nightingale Bladefist Clovervein Maximus, but you can call him Imus. And that's very typical of an Iranian, where it's like this string of things that it's like, well, Firewarden. Well, this one time nobody was watching the campfire and it got out of hand and it was going to burn somebody's house down. So, I took care of it, and then they called me that, so it stuck, sort of thing. Like it's titles that you gain. Various levels of earning are involved. Yeah, it depends how close you are with your tribe and everything.
It is a bit like military nicknames.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where that guy's called Brick. Why is he called Brick? Well, there's a lot of reasons why he could be called Brick.
Right, exactly. And so
that guy's called the Jackal.
So it depends a lot. Like obviously, like elders within a tribe would have very sort of official names because everybody knows what they've done and everything else. People, in my case, like I'm like an exile from my tribe, so to speak. I've just made my own up. Nobody ever asks why I call myself that.
No.
I have backstory for each one of them.
Yeah. but if you met an actual Iranian, they might just be like,
but why?
Yeah. Tribal storytelling and titles in a way. I mean, that's essentially the idea.
Yep.
There's a certain amount of the whole culture is kind of based around it. So they do respect you are so and so many years old, but they prefer to measure it in names.
Yeah, which is
someone who's has 20 names, they're going to consider has lived a fuller life.
Yeah.
Than someone with 6 names, even if technically speaking there's a 30-year age gap.
Sure.
And the 20 name guy is younger, right? They would consider them older. Yeah. Because they judge age through experience rather than through just how long you've been on the world, which is just an interesting way to look at things, because that's not that far off from reality. The reason we generally ascribe age with wisdom and whatever is because it's assumed, as in our culture, it's assumed that the older you are, the more you've learned, the more you've kind of gotten a chance to acclimatize, the more you've likely done, which on a whole is generally true. Yeah. But I mean, there are definitely people in their 60s who've really done nothing with their lives, and people who are in their 20s who've seen some stuff. So
your World War I 20-year-old fighter ace
is probably going to be, he's going to act, speak, and look a lot older than the 60-year-old, trust fund baby who has done nothing with his life. You know what I mean? You're going to get that. And so much as in reality, that's sort of applied to the culture. It's just that the Iranians see it more of, that is how it is.
It's explicit. Yeah.
It's this is it. If you have 20 names, you are an elder. Yeah, you've done so much with your life. Teach us.
Within your tribe, if you start calling yourself by a new name, people are gonna mock you relentlessly if you didn't earn it.
Yeah, that's right. if you're like, well, I think I should be called Bird Slayer. It's like, dude, you killed a bird.
Yeah, you killed a pigeon, dude.
Yeah, by falling.
Back
on
off.
It.
Nigel has killed 7.
Yeah, exactly. Nigel's killed 7, and he is not asking to be called. He says he needs to get to 100 before he'll accept the title.
That's right. But yeah, so Iranians are super fun because
they have whole ceremonies around when you get a new name. When when it's finally decided that you should get a new name, they have it's usually a party.
I think at some point Imus is gonna have his own little ceremony, alone, sad in his room, because he'll decide that something we just did does actually warrant a new name, but
Nigel 7 Birds doesn't even ask for a new name. Yep.
Yeah, so I think at some point that
Nigel Gullsbane.
Gullsbane. Oh my God, yes. You know what? Imus might just start calling him that at some point. Yeah. So, anyways,
Iranians are fun.
I like Iranians because it's right up front.
They also have a way of doing their language where it's you can look at one word, and if you they can write a name in a very shorthand way where it's only takes this much space up, but it says all of the names in there.
There's a bunch of cultural aspects of Iranians that I think are
they're one of our more cultured
fun.
species. Yeah,
super fun.
So then we've got Neemals.
Yes.
Now, Neemals are not...
It's an umbrella.
It's not technically a species. It's a generalized term for
Sentient animals.
bipedal humanoid animals. Yeah. That's... So
to elaborate on that just a little bit, in Tides of Bind, we've got Seval, who is a Neemal rabbit, leporine.
Yeah.
And Nigel, who is a Neemal squirrel line.
Yep. And then you've got Jonathan Chitterswell, who is the NPC, who's a Mantidaean. Yeah. So like, there's a lot of different types of Neemals, but we kind of umbrella it just because it's like they're the animal people. Like, realistically, there's about as much genetic difference between a Vulpine and a Leporine as there is between a human and an orc. But like,
sure,
they're both based on animals. Yeah. So and they're also from the same continent. So like categorically, it's... This
is the thing. Like within world, it makes sense because they are all from an area. There's reasons for them all being sort of the way that they are. So
yeah, because it's funny when you think about it. Like in an actual world where you have all these like animal races, is like, wouldn't you just call people also Neemals because like they're like ape people or whatever?
So I've always thought that's
or like orcs are like pig people, right?
This is why I've always found it like
anything anthropomorphic essentially,
pretty much, this is why I've always found it kind of enjoyable because there's that sort of the Neemals, they're all of a sort, and I would expect the Neemals to view the opposite as well. It's like, all of those like no fur or whatever, the non
smooth skins,
the smooth skins, whatever. Because again, like
the hairless ones or something. Like,
from where they're from, humans and elves and everything else, they would probably view it the same way.
They're like,
they're a bunch of people from other areas in the world. Because one of the things with Imaria is because of the ley lines and everything else, they're like continents within Imaria are very different. Like land masses, they have different, substantially different skin puppies. Oh wow, that's horrifying.
Your next character needs to be a Neemal.
Yes.
Who just like is hardcore, just like all you skin people. It's like, you have skin too. It's like, but you can't see it, can you?
I think that's a fine line to walk. I'd have to put some time into it because like
be very careful. A Neemal is like, it's the difference between, if you look at like Bugs Bunny, is clearly a rabbit.
Sure.
He's not a rabbit-shaped person.
Yes.
He's a rabbit person.
Yes.
It's that kind of idea. It's
whereas the Alassian elves, they have bird-like wings, but they are very clearly not a bird.
They're elves. They're human-ish. The blue skin and pointed ears, but they do have bird-like wings.
With that said, I will at some point create a character that 100% just views them as more Nemo.
Of course.
Because why not?
Then there's the Redbeard dwarves. So dwarves is a standard PH. They're in there. We have three of our own types of dwarves.
Yet, if you're doing a source book, it's the law. You have to have your own version of dwarves.
That's right.
It's the law.
We have the Redbeard dwarves. So they're the only innately magical dwarves. They have bright red hair and an affinity for fire. The fact that they're the only like innately magical dwarves is a big deal in Imaria. That's like a huge thing.
Yeah, if you're new to Imaria, there's a whole thing about me being mana laden, and we have discussed it previously, and we'll discuss it more in the future. But just know that magical versus non-magical matters.
Yes. Then there's the plunge dwarves. They dive from dizzying heights and use gravitational forces to aid their ascent and survive their exhilarating plummets.
That's right. Created just out of silliness.
Out of thin air. Their whole backstory even is they just sort of showed up one day and everyone was just kind of like, I guess they're here now, and that was that.
Not unlike the gnomes.
Not unlike the gnomes. So plunge dwarves are they're kind of an inside joke, but also like, why not?
Yeah, sure.
So we have the shallow skin dwarves, which you'll see a lot of in Tides That Bind. They are they're seafaring dwarves. It's worth pointing out they're not like aquatic dwarves. They are seafaring. Yes. They're land dwarves. Like they're not amphibious, but they live on, instead of living in mines and whatever, they live on ships and they do lots of fishing and things like that instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Massive, massive ships.
Huge.
Like their entire clan lives on one
Generational
giant
ships.
ship. Yeah, generational ships. They don't have like there are no Shaliskin dwarf towns.
Right.
They're all ships.
There are probably like there
would be like settlements and stuff.
Well,
but
and there are places undoubtedly where like they coalesce multiple ships together for a
for
while,
sure. Yeah.
and then move on and.
But yeah, you won't really find like we're going to go to the Shaliskin dwarf city. It's like no, there's no city. No. There might be Shaliskin dwarves who live in a city, but there's no city of Shaliskin dwarves.
I like to think that there's at least one just absolutely gargantuan boat out there that has just been like it's basically the size of a city just floating around that nobody really knows about, and that someday we're just going to run an entire encounter in that boat of a city of a boat. That's my thinking. It's going to be like Raven's Loft, but all contained within
one boat,
dwarf settlement boat.
It's boats all the way down.
Yeah.
Then we have the Sky Touched. They are small beings, exceptionally magical. They're from the Flying Islands and Flying Islands above. They're incredibly magical.
Yes.
You've got like the Pin Pan who kind of can just like float. You've got the Corrine who are literally just made of magic.
Yes.
And you have the Sun Children, which are like crystalline beings.
I am thoroughly enjoying having a Corrine in our Deadliest Dungeon crew. It causes all kinds of issues.
Because she has with the telepathy and the glowing.
Well, the glowing is always fun, and the telepathy is great. So for instance, with Corrine, they naturally glow. It's a 10-foot soft light glow. We have a Corrine Rogue, so that causes all kinds of issues when she doesn't explicitly remember to like turn off the glow.
Which is funny because you probably just would you probably just would forget.
And in any
sometimes,
sure.
But you'd also
also in any other game we'd like hand wave it.
Right, but in Deadliest Dungeon,
no, you forgot.
Yeah.
We're screwed. But then also the telepathy. So like for instance, in Sunday's session, she, who's actually playing a he, found the first part of the override code on a piece of paper, and told us all of it. And Mal was just at the DM. Mal was just about to like, got you. He heard you, and there's like, wait, you're telepathic. You can say anything you want, and nothing else can hear you. Damn it. It's fantastic.
But at the same time, if you can't see the person, you can't communicate to them.
Exactly, yeah.
There's no way to shout for anyone to hear you. You have to see them.
If they go around a corner, you can't talk to them anymore.
Yep.
It's this wildly fantastic...
Which is funny because they're one of the only species where like a sending stone kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, yeah, it's weird. But at the same time, you can't be silenced.
Yeah.
You can cast spells in a silence because you don't actually speak.
Yep.
So like there are advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, no,
the disadvantages are
fun.
hard to see when you're choosing the species. You're like, oh, that sounds awesome. And then later on, as things progress, you're kind of like, oh wait, it's like playing a centaur and then realizing that there's a ladder and now they can figure out what you're gonna do about that.
Shit. So the Corrines we've been having lots of fun with in Deadliest because it is a very mechanical grind.
Yes.
So all of these little nuances that in an RP game you would probably just hand wave, we're like, no, this matters. This matters. So
we have the Verndorar.
Yes.
They are dinosaur-like people. They mostly
sure
keep to themselves deep beneath the surface.
Which weirdly, they don't count as Nemo. Well, it's not really weird once you understand the whole like geopolitical layout.
Yeah.
They are not Nemo.
They are like Nemo adjacent.
Yeah. But they don't consider they are not generally considered part of.
No, they're not usually. They wouldn't be.
Mostly because they don't come from the same place.
If someone didn't know what they were and they saw one, they'd call them a Nemo, which they'd probably get shot because how dare you call me and I am a Verndorar, proud,
Right.
They're not technically counted as Nemos because of, like you said, there's a specific reason that they're.
Yeah, again, Nemos exist within a geographic area, and not just geographic, but geopolitical area.
Yeah, it's also worth.
Well, they originate from that area.
It's also they do. It's also worth like the Verndorar are actually like an original Primordian. They're not.
Yeah.
They weren't formed the same way the Nemos were.
Correct.
Nemos were animals that were infused with mana to gain bipedal sentience. Verndorar have been around since the beginning of the era of the age. So like they're not Nemos.
Actually, on that note, were they are in many ways in the same respect as sort of the elder dragons, where they effectively existed at the moment that
Yes.
the world seed became.
The Verndur'ar
activated
do.
with-
The Verndur'ar
with-
have, yeah.
with mana.
Nemals are a newer thing. Like they're like humans. They showed up later. They weren't
Yeah.
part of the original species that inhabited the
Yeah.
planet. That's kind of why Nemals is the catch-all term, because they have the same origin.
Yeah.
They just came from different species of animal. So Beaker, technically speaking, a tabaxi would be classified as a Nemal.
Yeah.
In Imaria. In Imaria, if you wanted to play as a tabaxi, our immediate solution to that is, cool, you're playing a cat Nemal.
Yeah.
I think
With
the
that
actual,
said,
I think
I
the
mean-
actual lore of tabaxis, they were created by like a cat god.
Yeah.
And since that doesn't really work in Imaria, we would just I was gonna say the same thing like lizard folk.
Yeah.
And like any of the other like elephant type people or whatever, like all of them, we would just call them Nemal, like
Yeah.
Ko'otoas.
To be fair, though, the actual distinction there is largely not that important. So, like, it's not like you would gain any crazy benefits or drawbacks.
No,
by
it's
being a
really
Nemal.
just more of.
But if people saw you, they would just, you're a Nemal.
They would call you a Nemal,
Yeah.
and likely if you wanted to build a backstory or something and you want to be from Imaria, that's the easiest way to
Yeah.
incorporate your character. If you wanted to say like, no, actually, I'm like this other race of cat people from Kenbia, you're like, okay, sure,
I mean,
like that's
can,
fine.
That can happen.
But
It's
like
just that everybody in the world is.
they're
just
going to assume you're a Nemal,
Yeah.
and that's probably what, if you come to me as a DM for Imaria and you say, I'd like to play Tabaxi, say, cool, you're a Nemal. Like, that's just going to be our immediate go-to,
Yeah.
because it's the easiest way to incorporate you.
There are ways around that, of course, but
Because if
yeah.
we were able to incorporate things like Tabaxi in our book, which we can't because they're not in the SRD, we would just umbrella them into the Nemal section.
Yeah,
we would just say, like, also Nemals for the Tabaxi,
Yeah.
and such and so forth.
Yeah.
So, and then we have the Zayan Ku. They are sort of the superhumans. They lead all of the human nations. Well, they don't lead all the human nations, but they are all of the Zayan nations are human, include humans,
Yes.
but not all the human nations are led by Zayan
Correct.
because there's like Eltharians and other stuff.
Yeah.
The Zayan are all divided into descendant lineages, each with their own distinctive innate abilities. The Zayan are watered down demons and devils and celestials, so like they all have like interesting, weird supernatural powers.
They're very much in the same vein as like the Nephilim.
Kinda, yeah. It's kind of a similar idea. Each of the bloodlines, they're not actually bloodlines. Like we originally called them bloodlines. Like they're not really, because it's not about, which I think is one of the more interesting things. It's not actually about who your parents were. It's about where you were born.
Yeah.
If a human is born in Chimeris, and there is a Zayan soul available in the Vale, it will be born as a Lindvander Zayan.
Yeah.
If two Lindvanders go to Kenbia and have a child, and that child is Zayan, it will be a Kenbian Zayan. Their last name will be Lindvander,
Sure.
but they will be a Kenbian Zayan. So in that way, it's like it's one of the reasons why the Zayan were kind of very peaceful with one another, because there really wasn't a reason to. You couldn't have the Vandershell go to war with the Kenbians, because half of the Vandershell might be Kenbians and some of the Kenbians might be Vandershells. Like you wouldn't be able. There was no way to really like, other than through specific nation borders. There was no real differences between them, and so they kind of just all got along fairly well, except the Beowulfs. They all tried to kill each other for a while.
Well, I think they all got along equally.
Yes, that's a fair way to put it.
I don't even think we would say just equally. There was no.
There were no wars.
There was no
between
blood
nations.
wars or anything like that. It was just sort of a, again, it's kind of like the Nephilim. Groups fought each other. The only real difference here is that, unlike the sort of idea of Nephilim, which is just sort of like generically powerful human-like creatures, in this case they are specifically powerful.
Yes.
Based on where they are and sort of what
they have
soul
measurable
inhabit.
powers.
Yeah.
And their culture is based around what those powers are. So, for example, the Beowulfs, their powers is that they can enchant people.
Yeah.
So they are resistant or immune to charming, and their entire society is like politics. Because if you can charm other people, you kind of have to build an entire system of red tape to get anything done, because you have to just automatically assume that everybody is under mind control, and you have to just go through all this red tape, because by the time you've finished the process, if you were mind controlled, it doesn't matter. It went through 50 people who all had to approve it,
And
which means nothing gets done. Right. And it still happens, don't get me wrong, it still happens, but it's like, they had to implement this system of ridiculous bureaucracy, because it was the only way to be sure that anything actually, which means nothing really gets done. And one could argue that, like, the politics of Beowulf is boring, because it's just a bunch of chess games all happening that are like, we'll get to it when we get to Beowulf specifically, but like that whole Linvanders are resistant to fear, and so they all died.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you don't have fear.
Sure. Yeah.
They became arrogant. They were just like, we're powerful enough to take on anything. And then the Eltharians showed up, and everyone's like, oh my God, these guys can absorb magic. They're like, it's not that bad.
It's fine.
And then they just got crushed. The Kenbians can run fast, so they are nomads. They're spread out along the desert because they can. The Vandashel have stony skin, so they live in the harsh, wintry north, where they don't really have to worry about it too much. The Dewisk are cursed to slowly wither away into undeath, so they have like this sort of nihilistic view of life, where they're just sort of like, nothing really matters. It's more about living life and and finding the balance, because they all know that they're on borrowed time. Like, mortality is a lot more visceral when you can slowly watch your skin wither away, rather than just slowly getting old. It's like, it's a bit more of a physical change, and so you're a little more keenly aware of it, and such and so forth. So their cultures are all, and the Encelebans are aquatic, so they had like a naval force, and a lot of their cities were like half underwater and things like that. So like there's the way the cultures were built. I mean, 2 of them were wiped out mostly, so it's like you don't have to worry too much about that. But I do like the this is not the day I die, Oberyn Martell, the day he died. Exactly. That's right. It's kind of because he didn't wear a helmet, that's why he died, which, that was bad, man. That show used to be so good. I love the idea that the reason the Linvanders are the most extinct out of everyone is because they were resistant to fear.
Yeah.
All the other Zanku and humans were just like, we need to leave. They're like, nah, we got this. It's fine.
It's fine. Which
is also, you'll see that in Tommy's Lowholt character. That man runs into everything headlong. He just somehow always manages to survive.
But yeah, so the Zanku are, they're for people that want to play a human but want a little spice.
The 2 most prominent ones are often the Dewisk, because they're this cool, like, undead
Dewisk
skeletal.
is actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
Because you're basically playing a zombie.
Yeah. And then the other one that we see a lot of is there's also the Pendragon. I forgot to mention the Pendragon. The Pendragon Zanku is they are kind of born of the dreams of the Vale itself. So they're sort of like this weird kind of ethereal lineage. And there's the Phoenixborn. The Phoenixborn are they're the second most played ones that we have for the Zanku. So the Phoenixborn, when they die, their body kind of goes into stasis. They explode into fire, and then they come back again, and they stop aging. So whenever you've died, that's how old you are now, forever, until you die. And then when you die again, if it's been long enough, it happens again. If it hasn't been long enough, you die forever. You die for good. You die for real. So what you'll often see is they'll die, and then they'll like lay low for like 10 years, and then they'll be much more reckless after that, and then they'll lay low for 10 years, and then they'll Doctor Who it.
I'm just managing my little bookstore. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's right. And then 10 years later, you're just like, woo, let's go! You'll also see like people who play Phoenixborns love the fact that they can. I've had this happen. I had a player who they were doing like a level 18 dungeon, and they were fighting like, I don't know, 6 iron golems or something, like by themselves. And no, it wasn't. It was stone golems. They were fighting like 4 or 5 stone golems on their own in a room because they messed up. And they died because they just had 4 stone golems wailing on them the whole time.
Of course.
And so they died, exploded, killed all the golems, and then just sat up and was like, oh, well, I guess we solved that problem.
Let's go home.
Of course, then they had to fight the big bad boss, and they were a lot more careful about what they were doing.
Yeah, oddly enough. Yeah. the lore accurate reason for your players to be reckless. Yeah, just have them play Linvenders. You're right.
Or Phoenixborns.
Or Phoenixborn.
Either or.
Yeah, you get one.
Yeah, big one. The Linvander not feeling fear thing was it was fun to say like, okay, if these people are immune or resistant to this type of emotion, so with the Beowulfs it was quite interesting because they are resistant to charm, which we took as that means that they actually have a hard time like really being passionate.
Yeah.
They're just kind of bored all the time, which is another reason why everything went political, because when you're bored, it's, politics tends to stem from that. Yeah. So it was a lot more like, they're a lot more logical minded. They don't really like love too much. It's all the marriages are like, political, power based, and like the whole culture is just more around personal gain and power because...
Lovely people.
It's a wonderful place. Because they don't really feel love, they don't really feel affection, because that is part of what helps you. I like the idea that human beings, or at least people in general, the reason they're susceptible to like a phase charm effect is because we have the capacity to feel passion and love and excitement and attraction.
Yeah.
If we didn't have if you're immune to being charmed, that probably means you're like a super serious, no-nonsense person who doesn't really feel passionate, because you need to be able to feel passionate to be able to be charmed by something. Because in a way, going to a rock band's concert and just living in that moment, you're charmed. They've charmed you. That's effectively what being charmed is.
That's what hypnosis is.
Yeah.
It is the putting you into a state of susceptibility.
Yeah.
And absolutely, lots of experiences do that. Anything that gets your endorphins firing is going to do that.
So if you are resistant to being charmed, in my mind, that means that you are also resistant to fun. In a certain way. You have a hard time getting into things.
Especially when it's like at a sort of like societal level, like when it's a group of people.
Yeah.
Individually, you can pass that off in lots of ways.
Oh,
but
sure.
As like a lineage, so to speak.
As if all the people in power of a society have a hard time not being bored, that's going to affect your society. Now, and the funny thing is the humans they rule over don't have this problem.
No.
But because they live in that culture, they all sort of close off themselves a bit more. But you can tell a cool story of like a human who's fallen in love with the Beowulfian aristocrat, and the Beowulfian's just like, no, I just use them. I'm just using them. Like I don't actually care about them.
Yeah.
I'm a Beowulfian.
Yeah.
I don't care about people. They're all tools to me.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, the human's like madly in love, and like that could be a really interesting. And I mean, you can do that without needing to have a Beowulf, but I think it's kind of like Star Trek. It's like when you have like a certain species that is a specific way, like the Vulcans.
Yeah.
It's like it allows you to explore those stories to their extreme.
For sure. Yeah, Beaker, that's exactly it. Like when you're talking about it at the sort of group/societal level, it's not just like an individual strong-willed being the reason that they're resistant to charm is fair. But when you're talking about an entire group, it's got to be more of the ability to feel it.
It's the same with like the Linvanders being resistant to fear. You'd be surprised what you do for fear. I mean, think about what do you do to avoid pain? Yeah. Every day. Yeah. Every day you do small little tiny things that you don't even notice you're doing because you don't want pain. Yeah. As soon as this was explored in The Witcher.
In fairness, if you were completely like tasing yourself to get up in the morning would be very effective, but that's silly.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I'm not saying you would do that.
I mean, to be fair, let's not equate the fact that like just because you have no fear doesn't mean you're stupid. No, you're not going to do dumb things, but of course. But you are far more likely. You're going to be way more reckless because fear serves a purpose. Yeah. And you have to assume that like, well, what is fear of loss, right? Yeah. Fear of losing somebody, fear of like stage fright. Think of all the things in your life that you didn't do because you were afraid.
100%.
And remove that fear.
Yeah.
And what kind of a person are you? What have you done with your life? And where are you? Are you still alive?
Well, that's the big thing.
Right? Like,
there's so many things that, we all have those friends. Maybe we are that friend, depending on your friend group. We all have those friends who are like, Will I zip line down this completely untested thing and potentially whack into a tree going 50 miles an hour and break my skull open? Sure, why not? That person doesn't live very long.
Not usually.
Like as a society,
or at least
people don't live very
of
long.
sound mind and body.
Right, like individually you get lucky as a
So you have
society.
to think the Linvander nation would have had very good health care.
Yeah, well,
Because there would have just been a lot of
and
accidents from
again,
recklessness.
it's one of those, like as an individual, you can be very good at, free solo climbers, people who climb without any rope or anything else. The really good ones, yeah, sure, but as a group, the accident rate is pretty high.
You also have to think like, if 7 guys tried to team up against you,
yeah,
and you're like, I'm a little afraid that I'm going to get killed here. It's like, that doesn't exist for these people. They're just like, no, what you're doing is wrong, and I'm going to stop you. And obviously, they logically would understand that I'm outnumbered here.
Don't be stupid thing. Like, there's no way to win. They'll still back away, but it has to be literally no way to win. Not like, well, maybe.
But if you're not afraid of death,
well, this is the thing.
This is the thing, right?
Like, well, but so like
you don't want to no longer be alive.
No.
But you're not afraid.
That's not what I'm getting at. Like, obviously, there's going to be a limit where you're not going to engage 100 people because there is zero possibility of you having a favorable outcome. Not even not dying, but you're not even going to have an impact on the people who are doing the wrong thing. You're going to get a few buddies at the very least.
Yeah.
But 1v4, you might win. So yeah, you're going to go for it.
Especially if you're confident.
Sure, exactly.
If you have no fear, you tend to get a little arrogant.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because you feel invincible.
Yeah. Like there is still going to be that, like, again, you're not an idiot, but so like if it's a dozen guys, you're not going to be like, well, I can win this, because obviously you can't.
Yeah.
But if if you're clearly outnumbered, but there's a chance.
But in the idea of there are a bunch of magic hating, knights in an army coming for your kingdom, and you're like, let them come.
As a group, you're just gonna be like, well, we have a chance.
Yeah. Well, we've got an army too.
Yeah.
It's like, well, their army absorbs magic. It's like, well, we have an army of people that aren't all magical. Like, we have soldiers.
Fine.
What they didn't understand was that the propaganda had made their way into their own ranks, and so when the Eltharians showed up, half their army turned against them, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
whoops.
Yeah, like
but that's kind of the point. When you're not afraid of things, it can lead you to hubris.
Yeah, well, and I think that's one of the interesting things if you are playing a Linvander.
Amplification of the bravado, yeah.
Yeah, you need to, like, you need to make sure that you're not doing things that are, like, completely insane, but also...
Yeah, you don't have a death wish.
You're doing things that are at least a little insane. Like, there's a balance there.
Yeah, Tommy rides the line really well with Lowholt, where, like, he'll charge at a dragon.
Oh, Tommy goes across the line all the time, but that's okay.
He'll charge at a red great worm, which was really funny because when I described the size of the thing, and he described charging at it, then I got out the minis, and he was like, oh, and I was like, dude, I told you it was a big dragon. It's like this massive dragon, and he's just this little dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had some situations, but he's also created a character that has a lot of options for survival, because he knows that's what happens.
And he always has a group around him.
He also always has a group around him that is expecting him to do that. So it's not hard to understand why the Linvanders are mostly wiped out when you watch the way that their prince generally carries himself in combat. And they weren't all as lucky as he is. So but it was a fun experiment to look at what the Zayanku have for their, like, magical infusements that would affect their society and their personality types and things, and kind of explore that further. And that was a really entertaining thing to do. And it helps give them, because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, these people are resistant to fear, and they just are. It's another thing to say these people are resistant to fear, and thus they have their entire society is this way.
I think we probably want to wrap up in a handful of minutes here.
Yeah.
Do we have we gone?
We've gone over all of the unique species. Okay. So at this point, it would be talking about, like, the actual more in-depth lore of the way that they interact with the world. We'll save that
because I actually, for the streams where we're actually talking about specific species, I want to try to get somebody who has played a game on stream. Like, I've played a couple.
Yeah.
You've played a couple.
Yeah.
But, like, I think we want to get Adam. We want to get Sam. We wanna
yeah,
get,
I tried to get
people-
Adam for today. He
I
couldn't
know,
make
and
it work, but
totally
yeah.
fair. But like, I think we want to, for deeper dives into the species, the peoples. I want to try to get people who have actually played them on stream to talk about.
That'd be fun, yeah.
Yeah, I think it brings more flavor to them than just sort of talking through the finer points. I think the added experience there is useful. So
Yeah.
So I think before we go too deep,
I mean, I'm happy to wrap up before we start another section, and so I think
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I think
I think we'll wrap up. Any questions before we do wrap up? We're not like closing
yeah,
out
I've really loved
instantly
seeing the comments. Beaker, it was
thanks for
really
jumping in
good
with
stuff.
questions.
Definitely don't ever feel like you're going to interrupt us. That's kind of
That's
the
the
whole.
point of these.
That's kind of the whole point.
These are high engagement streams. The goal is to have a chat with chat.
Same with you, Uber man. Don't worry about the moderation. We'll release that stuff. We don't care.
Yeah, no, like there was nothing.
I don't think there's a way
inappropriate of
to.
that.
We can't turn that off. I don't think. I think you can go in and like customize things, but I don't think you can
with
just
YouTube
turn it off.
moderation is you can tone it down, but sometimes, like for instance, I only play 14. Anything 24 can eat butts. I mean, honestly, that's not that. Even if that was like
kind of
talking about a person or
yeah,
something,
like
that's still not
fine.
that bad. But
Yeah.
like, the problem is if you dial back YouTube's moderation too much, it lets like everything through.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not the right choice. But I usually see them and approve them because, like, honestly, I don't think we've ever had anybody in the community say anything that was like really inappropriate.
No.
There
We've
are
been very
occasionally
blessed.
people that drop in and say things that you never get to see that are inappropriate.
Yeah, we've had a couple of drive-bys, but everybody who sticks around, you guys are awesome.
Yeah. Beaker, yeah, we are actually moving more and more on the channel towards we're going to play Tides of Bind next. That's actually why we're going to wind down the stream so that we can film Tides of the Bind. We are trying to move to anything that we're live streaming. The goal is to be able to be highly interactive with chat, including the Sunday's Deadliest Dungeons. Hey Mal, how's it going?
Good.
So the idea basically moving forward is anything we're live for, we expect you to interrupt us with stuff.
Absolutely. In fact, I
is
think
the
probably
goal.
for the next one we do, I'm going to toy with the overlay, see if I can get the chat displaying to help encourage that.
Yeah. But with that said, Atomic, thanks for coming out. Uberman, thanks for coming out, and
Yes.
Blitzcar, thanks for coming out. I think I did address all of you periodically, but
Yes.
At any rate, thanks for everybody coming out. I think we're gonna wrap up there. We will be back same time next week, and we'll be here. On Sunday
We'll
for
either
Deadliest
be
Dungeons.
talking about Imaria lore next week,
Or
or we
D&D
may
topics in general.
basically, if you liked the first half of this conversation, we're not going to talk about that, but we will be talking about like more that type of thing. It'll be more specifically about the game, less about the lore.
We're kind of going to alternate-ish, not exactly alternate, but we're going to kind of go back and forth between sort of general D&D topics and Imaria specific topics, and there will be,
Because obviously we love talking about both, so
Yeah.
giving both a forum is probably the way to go
Yeah.
instead of the mishmash that we're currently doing.
well, I mean, they're all.
I don't mind it.
Mishmash,
Yeah,
but,
they're both going to always end up being a bit of a mishmash, but some kind of structure I think would be
Absolutely,
helpful.
Yeah. All right,
So, that's the
Beaker. Perfect. Thanks so much. Yeah, definitely. Do
Yeah,
your
we'd
best
love to see you
interrupt
there.
on the next one. We're gonna go film some stuff, and we will be back.
Go check out Tides That Bind on our channel.
Yes.
Catch up because we're going to start filming more of it in like half an hour.
Yeah,
and then you'll
and
see it come
it'll
out
be-
in like a week or two.
I think probably even earlier than that. Potentially.
Probably, yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out. But yeah, absolutely. Thanks everybody. We will talk to you soon, one way or the other. Bye.